Hello everyone to another video. So for this one we are going to be doing Junicorn, My Nightmare and Unicorn. So let's get into it. So with my little Unicorn and Nightmare I made last year, this year I want to combine them. So I want to redo them because earlier I did Hippocampus the same way. I made some Hippocampus last year, a sunset and sunrise version in one big painting. And then so it's essentially for Mermaid. So then I decided that I would do them separately this year, and which I did. So now for the unicorn, so for Junicorn, I did the Nightmare and Unicorn separately. So now this year I want to combine them. I kind of have an idea for what I want to do. So let's see. So I'm thinking, because it's like light against dark pretty much, is one idea was to kind of have them, because they're going to stand out from one another because they're very different looking. See, I almost kind of want to do this and just do this 3/4 view. I feel like it would be kind of cool. And the tails be intertwined a little bit. And even here on the ground, it's just like their land that I have in the drawing kind of coming together. Because she's white, gray, and purple, and a light purple. He's black, red, and yellow. So they stand out. But I could have her like dainty. I'll just say dainty running. And we'll go with like maybe choppy running or something. Kind of something like that. That was kind of my idea for this. Was I wanted to have them like looking at one another and just like running together pretty much was the thought process. It was pretty simple. I might need to put embers in here. Maybe flaming hoof prints or something. Put tails. Kind of. Because he's got like a flame tail, so it can't really intertwine, but you know, where they're kind of crossing. And then 3/4 is kind of what I'm going to do. So I think that's what we're going to work with. So pencil wise, again, this will be pretty simple. They're not going to be anything too crazy, or at least they shouldn't. Because, you know, you say they shouldn't and then they turn out to be ridiculous. But even on the ground. Okay. I think he was something like that. This is also going to be some lighting right here because it's about to get really interesting. Because it's like I got lighting coming from him and from the ground. So that's going to be a process. And it's kind of going on to her. So that is going to be... Oh, well, that's broken. Okay. Let me skip to a different one for right now. I'm not that worried about it. Alright, so... Ugh, I just dropped my stuff. So this will pretty much be it. So clearly very much contrast, essentially. So that's kind of what I want to do. I think it'll be interesting when I actually, you know, try and not just sketch it out here. But I think that's what I had in mind for doing. I think it'll be a good thing just to kind of have them combined like that, running together, just kind of crossing a little bit. I might end up having it to where their heads are touching, so their horns are kind of crossing or touching. I don't know yet. I'll have to wait and see when I actually get into it, but that's where we're going to start. So let's see what I can come up with. Okay, so I'm going to hope that I can sit here and talk this entire time because this is like 13 minutes worth of stuff, and we're going to hope so. I have no promises. But for this one, it is Unicorn. So I actually made both of these guys last year as two separate drawings because that's just what I had in mind. Because I'm not really participating in Unicorn or any of these challenges. So if I really want to, I just kind of make something for it. And this is kind of what I made. So yeah, I separated them last year, two different drawings. And this year I decided to go ahead and just put them together just because I thought it would be kind of fun and I just kind of wanted to. So that is what I did, and this is where we're at. So I had an idea of what I wanted, which was just having them run together. I think my angle idea was a little bit different than this, but I just started drawing and this is what I came up with, so I just kind of went with it. Because I have a bad habit of doing something and then doing it over again because I don't like it. And I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to just do it and run with it and just move on. That is what my goal is, so that way I'm not continually just doing something and getting absolutely nowhere. So a lot of this footage is going to be me going back and forth between both of them, just because I was doing them pretty much simultaneously, if you will. So I thought it would be kind of fun just to go back and forth and just like showing you the different layers as I build them up for pretty much. Which it's always fun to watch and see the different layers that happen and just how they change when you add something new. Like you go from the pencil sketch, then I have like the marker coloring just to start adding in color, and then you have like actual like the colored pencil, and then I go back in and do like the line art. It's just fun to see it kind of come together over time and just kind of build up, because sometimes it is, depending on what it is, you kind of sit back and you're just like, yep, I just made that. That's kind of crazy. Every now and then that pops up in my head, or if I look back at some old stuff, like it's just kind of like crazy and you're just sitting here like, how did I do that? So sometimes it feels this way, or like when you're having to like start out a drawing, especially with two of these characters, it's just like, how did I go from here to here? Because you got to put down the lines, you got to actually make them, and like all this stuff. And it's crazy to think about like how some of this stuff comes to life. And yeah, it's wild. Now for the marker, I kept their same colors I did last year. So for the Nightmare, I did his generic black, red, and yellow, which obviously makes sense because he's a Nightmare horse. And then for the Unicorn, I kept with her white, light purple, and her gray. Because that kind of, I have this thing so where I choose 3 colors for my characters. My green OCs are the only ones who have 4. Everybody else has 3. So when I was doing these guys, obviously the Nightmare just made sense. He was super easy because colors, or you see those everywhere. Whenever you see Nightmare drawing, same colors everywhere. It makes sense. He's a flaming horse, whatever. So for the Unicorn, obviously they're white. So I was like, okay, what else am I going to do with her? So I picked gray and the light purple because I thought they made sense. Like the light purple, probably not, but it's a lighter color. And the gray I feel like does, because on a white horse, I know they have like a gray muzzle. And then I guess the mane and the tail, are they a light yellow? Maybe a silver something. So I was like, okay, the gray kind of makes sense in this scenario. Is it too dark for what she is? Kind of, but it's fine because it still works color-wise. And that way it's almost, in a really weird way, it gives opposite colors to both of them, because you have black against white, you have yellow against the purple. I know red and gray are not opposite colors, but it's kind of like you have this muted color versus this really bright warm color. So for me, I'm like, in a way that makes sense to do it that way, which is interesting. Because yeah, there's no green in here, so the red doesn't work that way, but it's just doing it like that and like thinking about it that way, it kind of helps because they're opposite of, like, they're essentially just complete opposites, like no matter the way you look at it, because have this dark fantasy horrors versus this, light celestial being who's, restores people to health and all that, who just represents like goodness. So the whole thing is just different. It still works out, don't get me wrong. I like how it turned out, especially this nightmare. Oh my gosh, you can see his pencil right there. I love the way I did his pencil. I was like, oh my gosh, this looks so good. I do lose it though when I do the digital portion, it does go away. But just looking at him here on the paper, I love it. He just looks so good. Because I do them both differently. So with this white, what I have is I use a light blue and a light gray. And then I like to use indigo blue for the white. So that's kind of how I get her to look the way that she does. And I feel like it looks good for the white color. Because I know white, I think in general, like depending on how realistic you are, white isn't just made like a white and gray, like it's a bunch of different colors. Okay, I'm not that advanced and I'm not trying to be. I just found that this color combination works for me. So, pencil, like Prismacolor pencils, it's a cloud blue, a true blue. No, sorry, no, I'm so wrong. It's this, is it light cerulean blue and a silver is what I use with the indigo blue. That's how I get that color white, and it looks so good, especially because they blend really nicely together. Because like I love using Prismacolor pencils for the blending purposes. Because I use the marker, but I don't blend a marker like the way I should. So I like to use the Prismacolor because it just helps with layering and just blending. So it just works really well. Um, as for the lighting on this side, because of the nightmare and his flame, I was like, okay, it makes sense for that's where the light source is from him. So that's kind of how I was shading her. I feel like in some places I did it a little too much, but it's what I did, and I'm like, oh well. So that is the way that it happened. She still looks good though. The main was kind of weird because I was like, okay, how's this working? Because it's just like, I feel like the purple part is kind of coming down because obviously it's moving. So it's like bowing in at the purple, which I feel like would be lighter. The white and the gray parts to me would be a little darker because one, the white is being hidden by her neck and the gray is far away and it's kind of like going upwards, if you will, just to kind of help with that sense of movement. But that's just me. So I'm not entirely sure exactly how much sense that makes, but that's what I was trying to go with. Also just trying to like break it up into like little, segments and groups to kind of help with shading as well, depending on what was going on. So it's kind of interesting. Here's not my strong suit, but I'm like trying to learn how to like do it and like handle it when I do certain things, which is fine. Because that's how you get good at something is just by practicing it. And that's what I was trying to do. Her cheek, I would say though, I did probably like way too much shading. I should have done a lot less, I feel like, but again, I done what I done. And it wasn't until after I kind of looked at it and I was like, oh, I shouldn't have done that much. But sometimes I get a little too carried away, especially with this indigo blue. I can't help it because I love using the indigo blue on everything now to add like extra layer of shading and just like darken some things up. But there are times I do a little too much, and this is kind of one of them, but that is just what happens. So I just have to go with it, and it's fine. The muzzle for me was a little bit hard with trying to like get like shading because obviously it's super close to him now. I didn't do that much with the pencil. Marker, I did probably a little too much, but I backed it up. I backed off a little bit with the pencil, just trying to help with the light effect, kind of. Obviously, it's still not completely like facing him. There's still gonna be some, but also trying to like show that she's super close to him now, right there, so it makes sense for me less shading. Obviously, his mane and tail super easy. It's flame. I still did add some extra stuff in there, like for the yellow I added a gold, and the red I added a Tuscan red for like the shading parts, just to kind of give a little bit of depth to it, so it wasn't completely flat. Obviously, it's not that much. It's just like little touches, but I just feel like it helps to kind of add a little more value and stuff to it, just to kind of help with the feel of it being a 3D, well, relative 3D object, I suppose. I just wanted to add some more so it wasn't like super flat. It just doesn't look good when it's flat. Like it's got to have a little bit of depth to it. So by adding in like the different colors, it helps. The black though, ooh, Okay, so I really do enjoy the way I do the black. I really do. It just looks really good. Because what I do for black, and this is every single time, I have this Perma Violet right here. I use like a 50% cool gray or something. It's just a light gray. It's not super light. I think it's a 50% cool gray, I'm pretty sure is what it is. And I just use black. But the way I did it, and then I blend them. But the way I did it here, because obviously I have the flame, so as you go inwards, like towards like, the inside of his neck, he's gonna have less light now because the flame is on his back, right? So I feel like by doing it this way, where I have the Permaviolet on the outside, the cool gray in the middle, and the black on the inside, and blending it, it looks so good because it also just looks like fur in a way. So it actually kind of reminds me of velvet with the way that it looks like it, even though it's not velvet. I'm like, it's so cool the way that it kind of blends. I do. I think originally I used grays as like highlight color, then I changed it to purple because like the sperma, because I thought it just looked so nice together and just worked well. Because obviously, like, I gotta have something a little more for black. But I started off with the cool gray as well, just to kind of add in like lines in between the black areas to kind of help differentiate parts, which I still do, especially on clothing, because it's like I gotta have it show different areas, right? It can't just be flat, like black still has different colors to it. So I gotta add a little something. So I started doing it this way and I just love it. It looks so good. It really does. And I'm like, OMG. So I think he turned out best. I'm also just partial to him though, because I like darker colors. So for me, I just like him more. And black is something I do like because I've like black furniture myself, as you can see with my desk. I just think it looks better than brighter colors personally. Like now I have lime green around my room, so I have black furniture with like lime green accents. I'm fine with that. It's just in general, as like a whole, I prefer darker colors. So but again, it just looks really good. They both turned out nice. Even on her, she looks like she still kind of has fur a little bit with the way that I blended it out, so it works. But we're nearing the end now. So this is just the line art part and just adding in some extra shading. But if you'd like to see more from me, I do these things I call Patreon companions, mixing animals and flowers together. I do paintings. I have a bunch of comics. I do elements, months, and season series. I do a whole bunch of things. So if you want to see more, please feel free to stick around and go check out some of the other things I did. If you don't want to listen to me talk, I completely understand. You can just put on silent, put on your own music. That's what I do sometimes, I'm not going to lie. But we are nearing the end now. Oh, but overall, they turned out really good, I will say. I'm pretty happy with them for just kind of being round two with them. I don't know if I'll do anything with them next year. At this moment, I'm not going to. This might be the end for the time being anyway, so this is how they turned out. Yay! Again, turned out very nice. They worked pretty well together. Even just with the whole opposite dual effect, just in general, color-wise, and just with what they are, works really well. Are there things I would fix? Yes. But it is what it is, so I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!